Was Joseph R. Biden, our former president, actually a clone? Are there actual allegations going around social media that somebody is not telling the truth concerning our presidents? Do you suspect that? Hello, my name is Ruth. Welcome to the Violet Flame Global Shift. Today we're going to be talking about U.S. President Joseph Biden, and we're going to be looking at several allegations that came in through the social media this week, as well as the prediction that I made last week that I saw President Biden's face, but I didn't make a concrete prediction, but somebody is being slowly moved off the world stage. We're going to be looking, is he still alive? We're going to be looking, are there actors or clones that actually play world leaders? So feel free to drop the world leader you have in mind in the chat. We're also going to be looking to see about the auto pen. Who was really using the auto pen for the United States of America? Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Hey, Joe. Hey, Richard. Howdy. How are you guys? Today, we're going to do I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter. We're going to try to keep it on the topics of world leaders, clones, and actors. Feel free to drop any name you want in the chat, but I want to preface it by saying we always ask respectfully. We always ask allegedly. There's no attempt here to try to undermine any leadership of any sort. We're just having fun with the cards, asking spirit, and trying to get down to some of the mysteries going on in this world. In my last global shift, go ahead and check that out. The world is drastically changing. I had mentioned possibly that former President Biden would be removed from the stage. The full prediction is there. In that video, as well as this video that I clipped out, I put the channel message from the Starseed Moon people. And First Lady Melania Trump really came through. I really saw her face. So I clipped it and made a second video if people just want to watch the channel messages. If you are watching on Rumble, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you wish to ask questions on this live chat, feel free to go into the description box and then click the YouTube link and it'll take you to this live here. And that's how I'm seeing questions. If you're here or watching on the replay, thank you. Please subscribe, send me a thumbs up. To those of you who've booked private readings with me, thank you so much. I am ecstatic to do readings, to meet you, to get to know you. Thank you so much. Yes, Shauna says, yay, we're live. We are live. We are hot and ready to jump into some special readings today. Go ahead and check out everything there. Pause the video if you need to and check out those links as well. Financial predictions. This will be the extended private reading next Sunday, the good Lord willing, for the month of June. There's actually something very interesting about gold that I was not expecting. It came through this week. So I'm going to pull cards and confirm. Something's going on with gold that we're not being told. And I want to confirm that. And I saw a glimpse of it when doing a reading this week. So we're going to take a look there. Thank you for joining me. Let's get started. I want to preface this by saying a shocking piece of evidence came out and thanks to Shauna. Shauna says, I have a membership and recommend everyone get one. Thank you. The newest social media link is this one. It was posted on, Truth Social, and it's currently shared on X. And I had shared a prediction possibly, because I don't like sharing major predictions about people, but I saw President Biden's face and a world leader in the cards being moved off the world stage. But it wasn't so much a death. It was just like a timeline shift, like it's an ending of some sort. In this Truth Social post, we know that, to preface this post, we know that President Biden's been dealing with some prostate health issues. And allegedly, his mental decline has been much greater than the media told us. But then last week, Donald Trump put out this media post on truthsocial.com, and it says, there is no hashtag Joe Biden. and I'm going to use the word X'd instead of the full military term or the full ended term, X'd in 2020. Hashtag Biden, clones, doubles, and robotic, engineered, soulless, mindless entities are what you see. And then he said, hashtag Democrats don't know the difference. So he's bringing some politics into it. But anyway, minus the politics, because it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. We transcend that. But this accusation about being X'd in 2020 and that there are clones and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what we have been seeing during the entire 2020 to 2023 presidency brings up a shocking disclosure of what on earth is going on. And I told one of my friends, I said, why is President Trump putting this huge bullseye on his back and coming out? It's almost like President Trump is like, I don't even care what I'm saying, because I'm thinking about the ramifications of such an accusation. Every journalist in the United States of America is going to either dismiss him as a crazy man, yet he's the president of our country, dismiss him, you're crazy, I don't know what you're talking about, or every journalist is going to say, what on earth? X'd in 2020, and what are robotic, mindless, soulless entities, which shows he knows about the soul, okay? President Trump knows about a soul, which is good news for our country because we need leaders that know about a soul in a person. But then the clones, who are these clones? Allegedly, who makes these clones? Allegedly. And allegedly, who's been running the country if a clone has been in there or an actor? And I know that it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I also want to preface before I pull cards that meeting with my friend who met with the granddaughter of President Biden. They were talking about the newly born baby that the granddaughter had, and she let it slip. I just wish Poppy was here to see her. And my friend had to pretend she didn't hear. Now, my friend allegedly, has shaken the hand, not allegedly, she has shaken the hand throughout the last 4 years of President Biden and has said, I have met 3 different Bidens. They're not the same people. She's an empath. She feels that. So there's some confirmation there among the family that the real President Biden is not there. I wish Poppy were here to see my baby. Poppy was the name the grandkids referred to President Biden. What kind of operation is it going to take to do something like a clone? What kind of worms did President Trump open by even suggesting a possibility? They would have to be NDAs. This would have to be a major secret service operation, almost a military operation, to have a clone in the White House. So that, with my mind trying to wrap around one of the biggest lies of the last 4 years, and I always believed it, okay? I always heard those fringe truthers and like, yeah, I believe it. It resonates with me, but it hits home when the whole world has to be faced with the truth. Shauna says, Trump also said something about Jill going to have to answer for a lot of auto signatures. Exactly. Oh, I missed awesome. Shauna says, great shirt. Thank you. Richard says, private readings are incredible. Highly recommended. Thank you so much. Yes, if you know of anyone, I can do them through email or Zoom. Okay, so let's get started on some of my questions, and I'm sure you all will have some questions to go with it. We are going to bring in the auto signatures and the auto pen. I have some information about that, but that will be at the end. Former President Biden. Is he still alive? Is there a President Joseph Biden that's still alive? So we have here the card of the Hermit, which would be the higher self card. When I read traditional tarot, it's your higher self, it's your spirit, it's your soul. Let me get the cards that fell. Okay, you have the Page of Swords. The page come up as the lowest quality of human being when you're reading about a soul, a person with a soul. This is the actor, this is the fake, and this is actually lie. And this sword represents media or digital thoughts, information, all kinds of just empty, airless being. Okay? So his soul is still existing. We have the Moon card, which also fell out. The Moon card is a card in tarot that means no longer with us. He's in the astral plane. If this comes out in a private reading, that means either somebody passed over and you're grieving them, or there's a potential life-threatening illness that you need healing, or somebody's going through a life-threatening illness. It can mean different things, but when combined with if someone's dead or alive, this card is dead. The High Priestess, secretive energy, and Page of Pentacles, fake DNA. That would be the clone. Okay, Spirit. We have 2 cards of fake, and it's just with the cards that fell out. Let's get a full reading on former President Biden. Is he still alive? And was he X'd? Okay, that's the word for E-X-E-C-U-T. C-U-T-E. Okay, I just don't want to use it on YouTube. Card fell out. I was like, is he X'd? That's what I was asking you. And the card that fell out was Ace of Cups. Yes. Can I have a full spread on this energetic moment of time? I'm not sure I want to tap into the energy here, but was it in 2020? Was it earlier than 2020? Was this in 2020? Further clarity, Spirit. I want a full spread. The Sun card and a World Leader card. Okay, the World Leader and the Sun card. The World card for the past, okay? So that's like the past. This is also a card of having died, ended, world, transferred to another world. There was a lot of confusion, and I'm hearing the words, a lot of clones being made, a lot of options. They were weighing their options of how to proceed. And this is the card of taking the first steps. It's also the card of like a portal. I'm also seeing a remote control. For some reason, I'm seeing a remote control. What was he X for? What was he X'd for? We have a lot of energy. Strategy and manipulation. And with this card, I'm seeing it differently than I normally see it. Seeing the drinking part. That's being highlighted to me. And it's not in this card, the message isn't coming of it's an angel calling people up like a rapture. This is like drinking on the souls of people, like utilizing the souls of people. Spirit, what were the alleged reasons he left? Is he dead? Did he just pass, or was he X'd? I know we already asked the X question, but I want to see if this was a natural cause or if this was actually called out by the White Hats and a decision made by military. So we are getting military. We are getting magician. And I'm getting electricity. It was a wish, a desire, a perpetrated event. It was called on. This is a world leader, but it was also an executive decision of some sort. And we have the Mr. T card. So he was somehow involved in this. I'm not sure I want to keep tapping into why was he X'd, but I'm going to do one more card pull. The Tower card is coming up. I'm hearing the words crimes against humanity. I am hearing some cries. So yeah, I think Spirit's kind of holding me back from it. The Lovers card, so this would have been sexual activity. And there's the stab, the backstab in the heart, and the Death card. So I think some of the things he was operating in caused the death of, and I'm not getting little ones, I'm actually just getting people, which is okay, because Spirit, it's like there's a veil, and Spirit's like, if you go there all the way, you won't, it just isn't good. And so, yeah, I think you won't know, and if not, do your own research about Dark Elite. But yeah, I believe people lost their lives because what he did with drinking and a certain type of drug. And so people lost their lives. And by the nature of that, and because the military could prove he was there when lives were lost, whatever that means, okay? He was there, he was proven to be there. And as a result, I'm actually even just getting like normal ladies in the whole realm like that. In like the pizza place in New York. Is it New York or DC? The Chariot card. But that is a timeline shift that's coming in. It's like a timeline that's bleeding into this current timeline. And it's like the disclosure is now ready to come. So the biggest thing I'm getting here that's new is that it was proven that certain lives were lost. Now, I am curious about why on earth they still continued to have this president allegedly continue. If it was true, I've got 2 cards that he's passed, that means death, and 2 cards that means you're acting or you're fake. Okay? So I am getting a confirmation to that. Why did this continue? Why did they even try to continue? Why? It was a secret. Look how the sword is being kept hidden underneath the coffin. Look how the man looks dead, but he's really asleep. It was a secret. His past, they wanted to keep it. They wanted to keep information about children because there's a child there, secret. They didn't want to reveal that. It was a decision made by the higher galactics. They knew, I'm seeing something like the metaverse movie of where some of the cosmic beings and galactics could patch up timelines. And that's the timeline card I got right before this. They knew they could patch timelines and shift the world without revealing that kind of information about the children. Timeline. The Chariot card. There's a cosmic being driving 2 sphinxes, okay? And that's the 2 timelines running side by side. They knew they would eventually blend together and it would not create the shock. It was a cosmic decision, and it was a decision made by our current president to allow something to go on, to step out of the scenes. Because if he would have continued in, this is a decision made by Mr. T's higher self, by cosmic beings, and just a call. So we have this up again, the Judgment card, which was the trigger for the drinking. There's a whole lot here. I apologize if I'm not making sense. This was a major world decision. Clarity on this decision as it came from the White Hats. I'm hearing the words, people were too blind to see it. Not enough people had surrendered. And the Dark Elite were still well in control. Well in control. Okay, Spirit. Let's go on now to, were there clones or actors that played his role? And then we're going to see who is in charge. Yes, I'm not going to read your comments because I don't want to trigger YouTube, but the T word that ends in sin, tree, yeah, and then crimes, yes, probably something to do with little ones, adreno, fill in the blanks, military activity. This was a military operation. And I remember the first time I ever tapped into the military doing tribunals, and all I could hear in my head was the utmost cussing. And it wasn't the bad guys, it was the military men who had found so much, and they were off the United States soil. It was somewhere else, and they were so angry, and they were cussing up a storm. And that was mild. That was mild. And it's because they could not handle the amount of evil that the dark elite have been up to. And they literally had zero mercy. They like, get him out. It was some of the cosmic beings and some of the other kind of white hats that had to intervene and actually say, no, we need these people for them to talk about other people. I believe Hunter Biden became the scapegoat and the president left. Okay, we won't go into the Hunter Biden laptop. We have an Emperor card coming out. This is not a Mr. T. This is giving me an energy of someone higher than him. This is more of the white hat leaders leading this secret movement. Okay, my question now is, were there clones or other actors that played President Biden's role after 2020? We have Page of Swords again. That's the same one. We have a conflict of interest. I'm hearing a lot of arguments over this, a lot of frustration, a lot among the white hats and the black hats, a lot of disagreements, anger, jealousy, envy, trying to maintain control over who got to control President B. And I see it's like, let's get further clarity, okay? Past energy, King of Swords. This is giving me a remote control vibe, a media vibe. The media had a lot to do with how to present Mr. B. We have the home card. There, his family agreed to this. The media was fed information. His home agreed, but I'm also getting in the center, like the home's in the center, but there was a lot of anger over what they were doing concerning President B and the manipulation, the remote control, the clones, whatever it was. A lot of people felt that they could not speak up. They were under NDAs, hence why my throat's closing. This is an energy of being very angry, but then also being very ashamed as well. And so they were partly okay with the truth not being told, but they were under a lot of NDAs. The family actually was the one that did most of the controlling. Okay? The family, or somebody in the family. The family had the biggest say here of how it would go down. This produced a level of split control over the last president. Some of it was white hat, and some of it was not white hat. Some of it was elite. Some of it was just, I'm seeing his wife. Okay, this produced a weird effect in the presidency of where that's why certain decisions were made that were actually in line with the Republicans, and certain decisions were made that were actually in line with the elite. Hence why the executive orders weren't canceled. The executive orders that President Trump did, they weren't canceled, but then all this money sent to Ukraine. So there's, or to fund a war, okay, outside certain things. And so, well, Congress mostly did that, but I'm seeing the the divide of how the white hats would have done it and the dark hats. and why it seemed like he was under the control of both at different times. He had two groups of handlers is what I'm trying to say. Okay, Spirit, tell us about the clones. Tell us about the bodies. Are they actors or are they remote controlled, mindless, soulless entities? Or were they paid but they had a choice? The Sun card is coming up. The Chariot card and the Wheel of Fortune. The Sun card is confusing me because I have to go with, this is some sort of soul or energy source. This is, okay, further clarity on the actors. Higher self, victory, and control. First of all, their higher self was definitely departed. Whoever was playing the actors, they were definitely not themselves, okay? But I'm not getting extreme robots. Let's tap into the energy of President. I'm getting actors, you all. If I had to be honest, I'm getting actors that didn't really have cognition. Like their soul was, I'm getting like an Alzheimer's patient, y'all. I'm getting in at someone who's, and they say Alzheimer's, most of their soul's departed and their body's just operating in their mind. And so I'm getting, yeah, there was some sort of level of humanity, but it was a childlike humanity in the sense of they were actors and their full cognition wasn't there. And it was manipulated, but I'm not getting heavy like a robot CGI, okay? I'm getting something like maybe wore a mask and wasn't fully there. That's all I'm getting. Some have said that Jim Carrey played him for a while. That could also be confirmed by the card. That's like multiple people, multiple handlers, multiple people involved, multiple factors involved. Richard says, ask if the White House was really not used, if it was a studio, some say in Atlanta. And yes, a good Trump-controlled stand-in and a bad puppet. Like that time he kept falling as he was going up the steps of the plane. Exactly. The energy I'm getting here is like, I feel like Jill chose, like First Lady Jill chose who she wanted. And the White Hats just agreed to it. And it's a really messy energy. I'm just saying it's a really messy energy. Okay. Was the White House used as a, was the White House really used or was it not used? Were they put into a studio? Did they do it from a basement? Did they do it from a studio in Atlanta? Spirit, can you give us clarity, please, on how the Biden administration operated concerning facilities and buildings? Okay, the Hanged Man, they were put in a very difficult situation. They were not allowed to operate like they wanted to. So very uncomfortable, tight. I'm getting kind of like a dusty feel, concrete. Yeah, I'm getting like concrete, dust. They were not allowed to operate in the White House. Clarity on the facilities. The Tower card and the Three of Wands. The White House was currently being cleaned out, investigated, unusable. They operated at a distance from the White House. That's the distance card, the travel. They traveled, in fact, to possibly several locations. They used strategy and they used media most of the time. They used the green screens, the media backgrounds. I don't know the technology, but they used a lot of media. They did not have the proper funding or the proper building. They were out in the cold. And I believe this was a stipulation brought on by the White Hats that said, no, you're not going to be using the main facilities. If you want to continue this, find your own backgrounds. If the family doesn't want to go through the shame and the disgrace, fund, and excuse my French, but I'm hearing the words fund your, I'm hearing the word opera. Fund your damn opera. Fund your damn show. It's like Trump would say that. Fund it yourself. If you don't want the shame of what President B did, you can keep going. You're gonna follow us in certain areas. The rest we don't care, or maybe they didn't quite have control of you, but we're not gonna budge in these areas, or we're going to announce it to the world. But you have to do your own set, your own funding, your own buildings, and I don't care if you do it out of a dusty old basement. She had to negotiate with a lot of people to put this up. The Secret Service had to do a lot of, now it's mostly Jill, media, CGI. So to answer your question about where they did it, yeah, they used a lot of studios, different studios, and I'm not even getting something as nice as Atlanta. If they used Atlanta, that was lucky. Keep getting this Sun card. That's why. That's why the Sun card's coming up. Hunter Biden was not finished talking and the investigation was not over. So they allowed President Biden to go full term, to continue in everything and keep everything going, because everything was going to come out about Hunter Biden, and that was the plan. The Sun card keeps popping up. It's like Spirit saying, you're not listening to me. That's the child, the sun, the red, okay, the red behind him, the adrene, the son, the child. Hunter Biden was a big key to working with Jill and saying, I'll talk, but I want this. And that's why they allowed the president to keep going in the facade, because it was not cleaned up completely. The Epstein ick was not clean. The Diddy ick was not cleaned up. They needed to keep the facade going, and they had to focus on Hunter Biden. They also knew using Hunter Biden was going to greatly undermine President Biden's support, which would allow another presidency and the people to be so mad at Hunter and the laptop, to be so suspicious of some of these allegations going around, that people would actually swing hard to President Trump and elect him in. They used a lot of media. Some say Kevin Kline also played him for a while. I believe it. The bad guys did not expect Trump to step away and thus threw the deep state into panic, and the good guys knew the military was on their side. So going into a little bit about President Trump, he's not a perfect man, okay? And sometimes I go back and forth on, is he the next Antichrist, or is he really the white hat we think he is? And my intuition and my gut is saying he's here for a purpose. He's playing a role, and he's here under the guides of the Galactics guiding him. Okay, that's what my gut is saying. I've actually never done a personal reading on him, and I don't know why. I should do a full live. But what I'm saying here is that for a leader of a world to be initiated, to become qualified to work with the Galactics or the Angelics, there needs to be certain steps of initiation on the human level. They don't just say, hey, incarnate, and we don't care what you did in all your past lives. They actually have to either work with like I do feel that there's some time travel going on here, but you have to pass a test to become a leader like that, especially to work with the galactics. And one of the tests is, are you willing to sacrifice for your people? Are you willing to step down for the good of your people? And when Mr. Trump stepped down, when he could have fought, got the Supreme Court to overrule, he could have, pushed the military leaders to to fix everything, to push his way, do martial law. He stepped down and he took a huge blow to his ego. And that man has a lot of ego. So for him to be able to step down, and also for him to only work for $1 a year, is a huge sign just on his soul advancing level. Okay? That this man is not part of the dark elite. I'm just going to say that there. Well, we're talking about the actors. So who acted as president? Who is the real leadership of our country? I know it was dual, but I want to see who actually really ruled and controlled President Biden. Knight of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, so we're getting military. Page of Swords, we're getting CGI. Okay, we're getting media. And we're getting family again. Okay. And one more for the future. Okay, so this is saying for a while, the military controlled him. Then they turned him over to his family with slight input of like, oh, as long as you follow this, and this, you can have more control. It's funny because I am not getting a feminine energy. You notice I have not gotten one female. And everyone says it's Jill Biden. I've not gotten one family. All I've gotten is somebody related to his actual DNA, his actual lineage, like family, like his wife. Who is Jill Biden? And why is she not coming into this as a woman, as a wife? I'm getting a partnership. Okay, I'm getting a partner side by side. Energy, stress. Who is Jill? Something she's protecting. Tell me about Jill Biden. Tell me about Jill. Ace, energy, Tower card. I'm not getting any woman, you all. I'm not getting any woman. I tried twice. I've tried 3 or 4 times. When they say Jill, I'm getting energy. I'm getting stress. I'm getting energy. I'm getting shakeup. I'm getting possibly a surgery. I'm just going to leave it there. This isn't a human. Work. I'm not getting any woman. Okay, we are getting a woman now after about the 5th try and a queen. But we're getting a lot of confusion in the midst of this. A queen and 2 queens. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why the woman would not come through. The woman energy could not come through. X22 thinks it was Obama that was controlling him. It's somebody related to him that considered him like family. Okay? Some sort of entity or being, or a lot of media, a lot of. Jill is really Alice Cooper. Okay, then Michelle. Yeah, this is giving me. Okay, can I tap into the energy of Alice Cooper? Like with Jill, I feel nothing. I don't even feel like a real being. Okay, Alice Cooper. Can you give me the energy of Alice Cooper? Because I'm trying to feel into it too. So we have a king, we have a man, we have a strategy, We have a lot of work was done. The higher self is there. Alice Cooper's higher self would be willing to talk. We have energy. We're not getting any kind of man either. We're not getting any kind of woman here either. We're just getting men. But then we're getting one woman, and that's the strategy card, like something was manipulated. So there is a possibility, according to the energy of the cards, that the woman playing Jill or whatever happened wasn't even a woman. That's just for entertainment purposes only. That's just alleged. That's just what the cards are saying. Okay, so there's allegations going on about the auto pen. The auto pen, according to one of my sources that I talked on the phone with just before, I was like, can you tell me about the auto pen? It's a machine that actually holds a small Sharpie, and you move it a certain way across the paper, and it mimics exactly the president's signature. Alice is a man, a rock star from the 70s, Incognito says. They just look alike, just playing. Yeah, I got the man, Alice Cooper. It was a man. Thank you for clarifying that. I was like, I tapped into Alice Cooper thinking as a woman, and a man popped out, okay? So I'm just saying, Incognito, that's an interesting point because I could not get woman energy. I could not get woman energy when I tapped into Jill, okay? Okay. Was the auto pen used without the real Biden's consent? Who had control of the auto pen? Who was signing signatures? Was this approved by the White Hats? I actually feel a tremendous relief now that you gave me that information because I was so tight trying to tap into something that wasn't there. Okay, Alice Cooper. Jeez Louise. My cards are like, it's a man. Oh, heaven help us. Okay. Who used the auto pen? Was it done with White Hat permission? I heard the words not being used anymore. Gone. Left the scene. For past energy, it was used. Look how she's almost like writing. She's like fighting. There was a struggle. The auto pen was argued over. Incognito says, I heard Liz Warren got indicted for controlling the auto pen. Yeah, there's definitely was some struggle over who was using the auto pen. Okay, somebody was taken off the scene who had, so tapping into what you just said, this is like not being used anymore. Someone was taken out. Okay, that's confirming what you just said. In the middle was stress. There was a lot of stress. Someone is currently under stress. There was a lot of stress of how that would be used. And the future is, look here, not there. You don't see the full truth. Was Liz Warren indicted for controlling the auto pen? 3 cards, please. The Chariot, the Knight of Cups, and investigation. The Page of Cups for fake acting, operating with the actor. I'm just going to say, I do feel there's an investigation going on right now. And it's one of the things that's bringing out just how fake that presidency was. I think they have had, because of the auto pen, they have had to talk to certain actors to clear Liz Warren because somebody was put under a lot of stress and was moved off the auto pen. Okay, the auto pen was retired. Somebody was taken away from using it under a lot of duress. They're not telling anybody, and it's triggered this investigation into all the fakery concerning President Biden. It's an ongoing investigation. and it's going to shift our world in a massive way. I was talking to one of my friends. I says, different people wake up in different ways. Some learn about their health. Some lose a loved one to, the inoculation. Others learn about the adreno, and the drink and the child. Other people wake up through different WARs across the world. They do their own research. They do their own investigations. But there's a group of people where all that kind of, regardless of, some people wake up through investigating 9/11, okay? Some people wake up through learning about health. Why is Big Pharma deceiving us? Some people wake up about corruption in the dark elite. But there's a group of people that kind of truth will not penetrate their energetic fields. No matter what you say about C19, no matter what you say about darkness, no matter what you say about truth, religion, health, big pharma, media, anything, that will not penetrate their energy field. And I was talking to my friends about this latest report here. I'll bring it up on the screen, about President Trump saying that there is no Joe Biden, and that he is a double or a clone or soulless entity. That's going to pierce the energy field of certain people in a totally different way. And it's going to wake up. And it's almost like some of the white hats, even maybe the Galactics, allowed this to happen because it's almost like President Trump has nothing else to lose now. Like either you like him or you don't, okay? And like he's got nothing else to lose. He's got nothing else to win. He's got nothing else to gain, except he wants to make sure there's enough disclosure during his next 4 years so that people will be awake enough to make the right decision in how to bring in our next U.S. president, to vote in the right leader. It's almost like he's still scooping up the swamp. It's almost like he's saying, I don't even care if people call me an absolute idiot for making such a bold statement about a clone. I don't care what the reporters say. I don't care what the media says. He's like, I'm going to say it. And I feel that this investigation of the auto pen, people began talking. Well, no, I was told to do this by this person. And this person said, Mr. Biden is XYZ, and he's not really here. And the door just keeps cracking bigger and bigger and bigger. And I firmly believe, tell me if this resonates with you, the door is cracking so big, I don't think it's ever going to be able to be shut. I think disclosure is in such a roll, and I mean like a snowball, that I don't think we could ever completely shut the door to the levels of disclosure that's coming. It's almost like we've hit a point of no return. It's almost like the truth will set us free, dang it. It's almost like the truth is getting bigger than the lies, and it's going to roll everything inauthentic out of its way. The age of Aquarius is an age of where the cosmos, the energies of light, have aligned so that truth has a stronger energy in this earth plane. When this truth enters in, it begins targeting all the dark places, and it's like mice trying to hide. I really feel that little post that I don't even know if half the world is listening to, but that little post is going to reach the right reporters, the right journalists, enter the energy field of certain people. No, there's no way they could manufacture an inoculation and then send it out in order to, rule the world. There's no way Agenda 21 is truth. There's no way they want, only a quarter of the population to survive. Their energy field is so programmed. What a good way to awaken some of the programming than to say your leader was programmed. So I'm going to leave you there, you all. Thank you so much for watching. Put your comments in the chat if you feel it. And, if you're watching this, even on the replay, and you don't agree, that's okay too. Because this is all alleged, and part of me is a little bit taking it all in as well. So feel free to put in your comments whether you agree or disagree. If you would like a personal reading with me for your life, go ahead and check me out on thevioletflame.net. And stay tuned this coming Sunday. I have not decided yet what I want to do the public live on, but I will tell you this. The public live, I asked Spirit in meditation today, and all I saw was a big tower, like the tower card, and falling. And so I don't know if Spirit's going to have me do a message about something shaking. Maybe something's going to come up in the next few days and we get to do a live on that. So I have not decided what to do the public live on, but the financial predictions on the extended membership, it is $9 a month. Join me there. Thank you to every one of you who's booked a reading with me, who's joined the membership, who's supporting me in my work and on my coming trip to the UK. You don't know what you all mean to me. Thank you. Thank you so much. Richard says, if it first was to secure the right timeline, one could not overwhelm. But now no holds barred disclosure will trickle in, will become the stream and a flood eventually. I agree. This cannot be stopped, and it's going to flood, and it's been gentle so that people, it's been merciful. It's been merciful. Anti-Gravity Tish says the firmament. Let me make a note. The firmament. Yes, if you've not watched my moon readings or I did another Tartarian readings, we go into those deep kind of things. So let's do the firmament. The firmament, and I know you all are going to get into the ice wall, but I really don't want to do flat earth, round earth just yet. So we'll just keep it to firmament, ice wall, and lands beyond. If I can research some of that, and you all can feel free to message me. I'm on Facebook under Ruth Violet. You can find me there, or you can message me here on the channels. But send me any articles you want me to look at. I appreciate it. I don't always respond right away if I'm in the car or I can't respond, but I appreciate it when you send me this. So yeah, lands beyond, unicorns, the Galactic Federation. You know, I've been thinking about that too. You know, I would love to do a live on Pleiadians and Archangels, and are they the same? And what's their role? Because I think that would be. I'll give you a heads up. Okay. I've pulled cards on the Galactic Federation personally and for other people personally when they just wanted to know. There is the cards, and it might be different this time, might be a timeline shift, okay? But about a year ago, the cards did say that some of the alleged Galactic Federation is not what we're being told and are actually not for the good of humanity. And there's certain signs that you can see it, but some of these channel messages have not always come in the truth. So if you want the truth about the Galactic Federation, I'm game for it. I'm just a little leery because I know there's a lot of people in the spiritual community that basically worship the Galactic Federation. They're like, come and save us, you know? And I'm a little bit more of we're going to all ascend together, and they're more interdimensional. But I am open to see what the cards have to say. Potential Earth aliens under the ocean. Oh, I have a story to tell about that, actually. I just wrote down ocean aliens. Yeah, and are mermaids real, or were they in a different timeline? You know, things like that. Okay, you gave me some good ideas. I'll feel into it, see what we can do, and go from there. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, you're the best.